And he really does think that people don't see this, and this is having no effect on his standing or his cases. And he wants to keep hollering about his character when, sir, we're looking at your character in these phone calls, in the way that you deal with your wife, the woman that you're supposed to be protecting and providing for, the woman that you are supposed to be loyal to. And you can't even be loyal to her while you're locked up. What would make these people think that you would do anything that they're telling you to do, how they're telling you to do it, when you can't even be righteous within your own relationship that you picked? And your character is being listened to. You are actually, Mr. Williams, telling people what your character is every time you open your mouth. I just got finished listening to Sonya talk about getting pow-powed, and I looked at the interview. And what I want to say about the interview is, if you are a praying person and you believe yourself to be an intercessor, or you know someone who is, pray for Sonya. She's in the dark. Like, she is in the deep, deep dark somewhere. This woman literally thinks that the people talking about the phone calls that have been legally and rightfully released, because they were never private in the first place, she thinks that all of us who find this worthy of discussing are evil, messy and evil. And totally removing herself from the evil of sleeping with and having a very intimate, close, personal, intimate, loving relationship with another woman's husband that she knows good and well. She knows. She's lying and saying that she don't know, but she knows good and well that the relationship between her and that man, Ernest Williams, was not anything that was known about or approved of by his wife. That, to all of you who are listening and who have ears to hear, because I have determined on the inside of me that Sonya has no ears to hear this. She might as well have, her ears might as well be off on the sides of her head and closed over with skin on top of them, because she has no ears to hear this. The evil is her actions. The evil is Ernest's actions. She thinks that all the people talking about this situation are evil and messy and wrong. And I think she might really think that. And she done forgot how we got here in the first place. And that is because we all don't seem to have a problem with understanding and knowing that her relationship with Ernest, a married man, so as far as we all knew in the first place, is wrong. Is wrong as like 18 left shoes. It's wrong. It's no way that you can make it right. It's wrong. She's in one of the darkest places and situations that you can find yourself in. I mean, she's 55 now. And from 22 when she got shot to 55, she's basically in the same spot. And even the interviewer called her out on it. I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically she said something like what I just said. Well, it sounds like you're doing the same thing now that you were doing then. You're dealing with this man that you don't really know what they're doing. You don't really know where they stand. They're doing a bunch of stuff and hiding it from you. And you don't know what's going on with them until one day you open up your door and let them in and you get pow-powed. And, you're sitting there talking about, this man so well, but in the same breath, you'll say, you never really talked about this and that and the other thing. Then you'll turn around and say, but we talked every single day. But I just hate to see somebody in such darkness and living in a lie. Like, I thought she knew that she was lying, but at this point, I don't even know if she can tell the difference between real and fake, between lies and, reality or fact. I don't know. Because for her to keep sitting up there and saying that everybody else is mean and evil and hateful and all of that, and not accepting any responsibility for the reason why we don't like you, because you sitting up there blatantly having a relationship with this woman's husband and making her look like the biggest fool. And even though I'm not an Ernesto fan, but you're also hurting his case. She's sitting up there doing the most damage to his, or at least as much damage to his case as what's already there. Like, him having a relationship with her is, I believe, doing as much damage to him as the actual charges, because he does not look honest. He does not, he's always talking about his character. You don't look like a man of character when it is known, it's on voice recording and printouts, that you talk to this woman, you tell her one thing, you talk to your wife, you tell her something else. And then you con your friends and your relatives, you dry beg, you just do your best to manipulate them as well. And then you have your wife paying all this money to try to get you out of trouble that she doesn't really truly even understand why you're in. And then you have this other woman that knows you're married, but your wife doesn't know that you've got this other woman. You've got this woman bending over backwards, working on your case, working to help you deceive your wife into doing whatever it is that you need done, which is keeping on paying your attorney, trying to make sure she doesn't know exactly all the facts of the cases and everything, switching your attorney to whatever Sonya says it needs to be switched to. And he really does think that people don't see this, and this is having no effect on his standing or his cases. And he wants to keep hollering about his character when, sir, we're looking at your character. We're looking at your character in these phone calls, in the way that you deal with your wife, the woman that you're supposed to be protecting and providing for, the woman that you are supposed to be loyal to. And you can't even be loyal to her while you're locked up. You won't even be loyal to your own wife while you're locked up. What would make these people think that you would do anything that they're telling you to do, how they're telling you to do it, when you can't even be righteous within your own relationship that you picked? And your character is being listened to. You are actually, Mr. Williams, telling people what your character is every time you open your mouth. But then it's always somebody else's fault somewhere, somebody somewhere, that you didn't get what you hoped for. You didn't get what you hoped for because you didn't do right by what you were responsible for. And then you got this woman who actually thinks she's being done wrong. She shouldn't even be a factor. This lady shouldn't even be a factor. She shouldn't even be being factored in anywhere. She fits nowhere. This is a married man. Him and his wife should be handling all of this. I believe that his wife don't have to know nothing about the law. That God, that Ernest is always talking about, that he truly believes in, God would make up the difference. God would do the rest. I guarantee it. There's no way that we'll ever know, but I guarantee if he would have left Sonya out of the equation, if he would have left her right where she was and said, I can't risk nothing. I already know. I already done messed up with this woman and whatever else it was I was doing. But I can't put my wife and keep on putting her in a bad position. I'm already married to a somewhat high profile lady, and I already got her out here looking crazy at this point. So I can't do anything else to make anything look any crazier than what it is. I'm just going to talk to my wife. I'm going to beg her to hire me the best attorney. And then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hope, wait, believe, trust the process, pray to God that I'll have a good outcome. If we could go back in some kind of way, see, I know for sure Ernest would have had a better outcome with him, Shirley, and God working on his stuff than him, Shirley, Sonya, Shirley's God, Ernest's God. All of these people, family and friends and all this, trying to, sort between what's going on and what's not going on, and telling him this and somebody else telling him that. He muddied the waters. Ernest. Ernest, you muddied the waters. You think God don't see this? He's not incapable of doing whatever needs to be done for you in your case. God don't need Sonya. Ernest don't need Sonya. Ernest wanted Sonya around. And of course he doesn't have faith like that. So he felt that he needed somebody that he could rely on, that he could tell a lot of the, that he didn't have to feel bad about them knowing the facts, because he could just talk his way out of it or say he was going to explain later or whatever. So he felt that he needed this extra person in the mix, doing things and talking for him and checking on things for him. But the truth is, Ernest never needed Sonya, because God doesn't need something wrong to make a right outcome. Sonya is a wrong piece on the chessboard. She's on the chessboard with chess pieces, and she's a checker piece or something. She's out of place, out of line, out of order, out of all of that. Nobody needed her. She's literally making things worse rather than better. And Ernest would have had a much better outcome if he would have trusted God, refused to put Shirley in a crazy looking situation with anybody who might have peeped what was going on and found out, and just sat there and took his situation as it came, because he had something to do with getting himself in here in the first place. Something to do with it. But did he do that? No. He needed his pacifiers and his Teddy and Stuffy and whatever you want to call it. And that's where Sonya came in. So he's used her as a pacifier, as a teddy bear, as a cozy blanket. And it has done nothing but make the situation worse. Make for a worse and worse and worse situation. And neither one of them haven't learned yet that nobody made this bad for y'all. Y'all made this bad for y'all. So, after listening to that interview, I just really, on the one hand, my heart goes out to somebody that is in that bad of a shape and literally swimming in the dark, cold river. Like literally just, I don't know if it's swimming, just out there. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that's not all I wanted to say, but I wanted to leave y'all with this. And let you see something that came up to me as I got to the close of listening to her interview. So I'm going to read this from 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. And it reads, "Remember that there will be difficult times in the last days. People will be selfish, greedy, boastful, and conceited. They will be insulting, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, and irreligious. They will be unkind, merciless, slanderers, violent, and fierce. They will hate the good. They will be treacherous, reckless, and swollen with pride. They will love pleasure rather than God. They will hold to the outward form of our religion, but reject its real power. Keep away from such people. Some of them go into people's houses and gain control over weak women who are burdened by the guilt of their sins and driven by all kinds of desires. Women who are always trying to learn, but who can never come to know the truth. As Jannes and Jambres were opposed to Moses, so also these people are opposed to the truth. People whose minds do not function and who are failures in the faith. But they will not get very far because everyone will see how stupid they are. That is just what happened to Jannes and Jambres." 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 9. So, for me, obviously, Ernest is a type of that person who will creep into the houses of weak and silly women and overtake them. Then you have the weak and silly woman who is burdened by the guilt of their sins and driven by all kinds of desires. Women who are always trying to learn, but who can never come to know the truth. And then on the flip side, the person who's looking to prey upon that type of person is someone who is selfish, greedy, boastful, and conceited, insulting, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, and irreligious, unkind, merciless, slanderers, violent, and fierce, hating the good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with pride, love pleasure rather than God, hold to the outward form of our religion but reject its real power. Keep away from such people. Why? Because some of them go into people's houses and gain control over weak women who are burdened by the guilt of their sins and driven by all kinds of desires. Women who are always trying to learn, but who can never come to know the truth. And As this guy and that guy were opposed to Moses, so also these people are opposed to the truth. People whose minds do not function and who are failures in the faith. Last thing I want to point out. What is a side chick? I asked Google, what is a side chick? A side chick is a woman who carries on a romantic or sexual relationship. A side chick is a woman who carries on a romantic or sexual relationship with someone who is already in a committed relationship or married with another partner. Sonya fits the textbook description of a side chick. Her position is textbook. If there was a textbook, because it's a relatively new slang word, okay? But if there was a textbook, Google is our, big, ever-changing, ever-evolving textbook these days. Sonya is a textbook side chick. She is carrying on a romantic relationship with someone who was already in a committed, married relationship with another partner. And at some point, that relationship was sexual. Okay? Of course, not now, because of course the person is locked up. But even locked up, the relationship has been romantic. Absolutely was romantic until they found out people were listening to the calls. And on some level, we know that it's still romantic. What does it mean to be a mistress? I asked Google again. And again, Google gave me what Google gives, an answer. A mistress is a woman who is in a relatively long-term sexual and romantic relationship with someone who is married to a different person. Pretty much the same definition, right? Sonya is also a mistress. Just because you don't like these words does not mean you can just get out of applying them to yourself. You don't have to say it, but that's what it is. So anyway, that's all. That's it. That's all I got for today. That's it. I'm not going to recap. The recap will be too long. That's all I got. I am about to, let's see, what am I about to do? Get on with the rest of my evening. I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Like the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.